परतो वापि न किञ्चिद्वस्तु जायते सदसद्वापि न किञ्चिद्वस्तु जायते. So the word vastu actually means the reality. But in this context, the word vastu means any object. Vastu, porul. Any oru porul. Any given object. Kad vastu. No, you not only this, the big picture of the Jagat universe, even if you take any small object like pot, you cannot prove the cause of the pot. Where has it originated from? What is the, Mula Karanam, the cause of this pot? You cannot talk about it. So he gave 6 options. The object cannot originate from itself, nor does it originate from something else other than itself. Then Ubhayataha you have to add there. Swataha, Parataha, Ubhayataha. It does not originate from something, the mixture of both itself and something else. So Sat na jayate, Asat na jayate, Sadasat na jayate. Na kinchit vastu jayate. No object originates. Existent, already existent is not born, does not originate. Non-existent cannot originate. The mixture of existent and non-existent also cannot originate. Therefore 6 options. So all these 6 options, isn't it? Totally now got 12 options. You see the defect. Next, that understand the karma, the cause cannot be established. Then we'll go to the next one. 3 more. Heturna jayate nadehe. Phalam chapi swabhavatah. Adirna vidyate yasya. Tasya hyadirna vidyate. So here you have to add the word anadehe phalat hetuhu na jayate. From the beginningless karma, anadehe phalat means from the beginningless uncaused body, beginningless body, karma is not born. Punya papam, punyam or papam does not originate from a beginningless body. Similarly, anadehe hetoho phalam na jayate. From the beginningless karma, in the form of punyam or papam, body is not born. Body does not originate having the beginningless punya papam as its cause. No. Okay, then can we say hetu and phalam, this karma and body originate just by itself, swabhavataha, naturally, without, swabhavataha means what? Without any cause. Causelessly, they just appear. Can you say that? There's no beginningless karma, first of all. The beginningless karma the body comes into existence, you cannot say. There is no beginningless karma. The beginningless karma, body does not come into existence. From beginningless body, karma does not originate. And karma and body, swabhavataha, without any cause also, uncauselessly they originate, you cannot say. See, 3 more options. Therefore, what is the final thing now? There is no cause. There is no such a thing called absolute, beginningless, uncaused, causeless cause at all. Therefore, there is no such a thing called absolute creation. The creation is only, the so-called universe is only appearance, manifestation of the beginningless, endless, changeless reality. And he says now, Adihi na vidyate yasya, tasya hi adihi na vidyate. The word adihi, the twice used. The first adihi means cause. Second adihi means effect. You can say utpattihi, jatihi, origination. So, yasya adihi na vidyate, that which has no beginning, okay, has no origination. Understand now? That which has no beginning has no origination means what? Does not originate. That which has no beginning does not originate. What it means is, if there is something called cause, and definitely the cause is what? Cause is something which is subject to undergo change. When does the cause gets the status of being the cause? Only if there is a product. Only something has originated from it, it can be called a cause. You call gold a cause because the chain has originated from the gold. And for which the cause has to undergo change. If it undergoes a change means what? Isn't it? Therefore here it is undergoes a change to become an effect. Therefore, any cause, anything undergoes a change becomes what? An effect also. It must have originated from something else. So that which does not have a beginning, yasya adihi na vidyate. That which does not have a beginning, that which is beginningless, that which is causeless, which is uncaused, has no beginning, understand? Does not originate. The beginningless is what? Does not originate. There is no creation of something from something which does not have a beginning. Got it? We talk about what about Brahman? Reality, we say, reality is that which has no beginning, anadihi. Beginningless means what? Beginningless means it is uncaused. If something has a cause, you can talk about the beginning of that, isn't it? Causeless means, beginningless means causeless. But when you talk about something eternal, eternal means beginningless, timeless, beginningless. Eternal means timeless, timeless means beginningless, beginningless means causeless. Therefore, causelessness implies what? Endlessness. Therefore, changeless also. That which is beginningless is also not changeless. A beginningless is endless, therefore changeless. A changeless thing cannot be the cause. Understand now? Changeless thing cannot be the cause. Anything which is a cause enjoys the status of being the cause, has to undergo a change to become the effect. If we say Brahman is the cause, then Brahman must undergo change. Isn't it? You can't say eternal Brahman and still undergoes a effect, undergoes a change to become the effect. So knowingly or unknowingly, the whole world, all the cultures, even though they have their own concept of, whatever concept of Ishvara, whatever, they all believe in God, the Lord, the Creator, and all of them unanimously say one thing: the God, a Lord is eternal. Don't they say that? Which culture, which religion do they say God is non-eternal? Tell me. Unanimously, universally, they all accept this fact: God is eternal. Lord is eternal. Eternal means what? What does the word eternal or eternity mean? Eternal means timeless. Timeless means beginningless. Beginningless also must mean what? Changeless. Begins means the change has come. How can you say God is eternal and the universe, isn't it, has come from the God? Very contradiction. There is a contradiction. So what it says is, Yasya adihi na vidyate, tasya adihi na vidyate. That which does not have beginning cannot have origination. Understand now? Doesn't have jati, utpatti. No production. Therefore, what is the final teaching now? Through all these 15 options, well analyzed options, we arrive at the conclusion that cause cannot be established, absolute cause cannot be established at all. Therefore, we cannot talk about the effect. If the cause and effect cannot be established, then we cannot talk about the creation. Therefore, all these discussions, pointing out the fallacies in other systems of philosophy, only contribute for the establishment of the non-creation. This is Ajati Vadaha alone is really made more and more clearer and popular. Alright? Therefore, with this, the Astika Darshana refutation is over. The Astika Darshanani, negation of, refutation of systems of philosophy accepting Veda as secondary means of knowledge is over. Now begins Nastika Darshana refutation. The view of refutation of the view of Nastika Darshanani. And as I told you already, there are 6 Nastika Darshanani. Of them, the first place is given to Charvakaha, the materialist. You know what he says? Yavad jivet sukham jivet. Grunam krutva ghritam pibet. Come on, where is Punyam? Where is Papam? Where is Bhagavan? Where is law? Who is going to punish you? Come on, live happily as long as you live. No, live your life, enjoy your life drinking ghee. No, take debts from the banks, whether you repay or not, doesn't matter. Take as much loans as possible. Enjoy your life. Don't worry about paying back. You just say bye to, say the bank, no money, you go back. You know, typical. The Rinam, those days, no, Rinam Krutva Ghritam. Ghritam, ghee is very expensive. So you don't have money means you can't buy ghee. But he, don't worry, go on. Why should you live your life without enjoying ghee? Go get loan, get debts. No, Rinam Krutva. Kadan vaangiyada nei port nalla saapran. So enjoy your life, isn't it? Rinam Krutva Ghritam Pibet. That is how Charvaka. Charvaka says. Materialist. And he is Nastika number 1. So Gaudapada Acharya thinks it is not worth negating, refuting. Now you go to real thinker of who is the best thinker of all the best of the thinkers, of the Nastikas. Refute him, it's enough. I told you already about the Prathama Mallanyaya. And Puja Swamiji says, knocks off the champion boxer and all other boxers become knocked off as well. Therefore here also, Charvaka. Then comes the Jaina Matam. Charvaka Matam, Jaina Matam. And I said, Rishabha Devaha is the propounder of the Jaina Matam, who is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. But this Mahaviraha, Vardhamana Mahaviraha, actually is only a reviver of the Jaina Matam. And is called actually Jinaha. Jinaha is called the Jitaha, Jitavan. Jitavan means one who has mastery over his senses. Jinaha means the one who has mastery over his senses, means one who is a Swami. One who has mastery over his senses means one who is victorious, one who has conquered his mind and senses. Conqueror of one's own mind and senses. In our language we call him a Jnani. They call Jinaha. And those who follow the Jinaha are called Jainaha. Jainaha. Mahavira Jinaha, and those who followed the Jinaha are Jainaha. So Jaina Matam. Anything pertaining to Jinaha is called Jaina. There are also people who do not accept Veda, as they also come under the Nastika Matam only. So Charvaka Matam, Jaina Matam, and third, fourth, fifth, sixth. We have so totally 6 systems of philosophy coming under the Nastika Darshanani. Actually, the rest of the 4 are all Buddhas. Each branch of Buddhism is looked upon as one system of philosophy. Each branch of Buddhism has the status of being a given system of philosophy. And this Bauddha Matam, propounded by this Buddha, Siddhartha, Buddha, Gautama Buddha, has two wings as Hinayana Bauddha Matam and Mahayana Bauddha Matam. Two wings. Of the two wings, each wing has two branches. Sautrantika Bauddha Matam, Vaibhashika Bauddha Matam. So Sautrantikaha, Vaibhashikaha are two branches of Hinayana Buddhism, Hinayana Bauddha Matam. Then Yogachara Bauddha, Yogachara Matam or Yogachara Bauddha, Madhyamika Bauddha, these two Bauddha Matam, these two branches come under Mahayana Buddhism. So Sautrantika Bauddha Matam, Vaibhashika Bauddha Matam, Yogachara Bauddha Matam, Madhyamika Bauddha Matam. Four branches of Buddhism coming under two wings as Hinayana and Mahayana Bauddha Matam. And here the Yogachara Bauddha Bauddha Matam is very, very close to Advaita Vedanta Shastra. Vedanta. Very close means what? It is not. In the whole world, actually, there are so many people who mistake the Yogachara Buddhism for Advaitam. There are many people, because of the closeness, they mistake Adi Shankara Bhagavad-pada for a pseudo-Buddhist. They fail to see the subtle difference. In fact, one big difference, but only difference. Therefore, the Yogachara Bauddha himself refutes Sautrantikaha and Vaibhashikaha. So, the Gaudapada Acharya or Shankara Bhagavad-pada Acharya need not work hard to negate the Sautrantika or Vaibhashikaha. So when Yogachara Bauddha refutes his own fellow Bauddhas in the name of Sautrantika and Vaibhashika, Gaudapada Acharya has alliance. I mean what? Joins the Yogachara Bauddha to refute those two. After refuting them two, then he'll come out of Yogachara Bauddha and show, definitely he will show him where Yogachara Bauddha goes wrong. Understand? The last one, the Madhyamika Bauddha, is called Shunyavadi or Shunyavadinaha, who say there is nothing. Nothing is here absolutely. Neither the experiencer absolute nor the experienced world. Nothing is there. When he says nothing is there, he denies his own existence. Therefore, Gaudapada Acharya takes it easy here. When you deny your own existence, you are non-existent. When you are non-existent, then how can your philosophy be existent? நான் இல்லை என்னுடைய தத்துவம் இருக்கிறதுன்னா. How can your philosophy exist if you are non-existent? If your philosophy is as good as non-existent when you are non-existent, so then it is not, we need not make any effort to refute the non-existent philosophy. Therefore, he just leaves the Shunyavadi. Understand? He only negates Yogachara Bauddha. But we need to know how Yogachara Bauddha negates Gaudapadacharya as though he joins him. He presents how Yogachara Bauddha refutes the Hinayana Bauddha Matam, which means he refutes those two, first two, Sautrantika and Vaibhashikaha. Okay, before going there, we have to understand, see what the Sautrantika Bauddha Matam, what is the view of his Sautrantikaha? For the Sautrantikaha, there is an experiencer and there is an experienced world, the objective universe, external to the experiencer and which has its own independent existence. And this external world of objects, which is independent of the experiencer, is separate from the experiencer. Experienced world of objects is separate from the experiencer. And he says, this world of objects is proved by the experience, the cognition which rises in the mind. What is the proof for the external world being there? He says there's so many cognitions. We have multifarious experiences, and each experience is a cognition. There's so many cognitions rise in our mind in the form of thoughts, and those cognitions are the proof for the corresponding objects existing in the external world. If there is no object, there won't be cognition. There is a mic outside, therefore there is a cognition of the mic. So cognition rising in the mind in the form of a thought is the proof for the object existing outside of a mic. And how does this cognition arise? Through perception. Therefore, external world, so the plurality of the external objects, existence of the plurality of the external objects constituting the external world is proved through perception, proved by the cognitions rising in the mind through perception. And this experienced universe is different from, separate from the experiencer. Therefore, pratyaksham means perception. So perception proves the existence of the external world, which contributes for the rising of cognitions in the mind. Therefore, this Sautrantika Bauddha is called Bahyartha Pratyakshavadi. Bahyam means external. So external implies what? The world. Artha means the object. Bahyartha, the external object. What external? The external objective universe, which is separate from the experiencer, arrived at through the experience born of perception. So pratyaksha, bahyartha pratyakshavadi, bahyartha pratyakshavadi, bahyartha pratyakshavadinaha, plural. So bahyartha pratyakshavadinaha means those philosophers called Sautrantika Buddhas who hold on to the view of the external universe being separate from the experiencer and whose existence is proved by experience born of perception. Is it clear? Okay. Now we will go to the next first person. Who is the next one? Therefore, there is real universe which has its own independent existence. The next one, Vaibhashikaha. According to Vaibhashikaha also, there is external world of objects which is separate from the experiencer. They are very close. They are very, very close. That is why both branches come under one wing called Hinayana Bauddhamatam. But he says, Vaibhashika says, not only we have cognitions, experiences, born of perception of the external world of objects, we also have experiences born of inference. Isn't it? Inference also he adds. The existence of the external world proved by my experiences I have, not only through perception but also through inference. Okay, there are beautiful green trees, objects, and I perceive them. There are cognitions of the trees around, which I have through perception. But perception proves the existence of the objects. The perception of those objects also contribute for what? Pleasure, joy, emotions. I feel pleased when I perceive those objects. That joy, seeing my face, and I say that, you infer the joy I experience in my mind seeing the beautiful plant full of roses. Isn't it? We all had, some sweet here some time back. You not just then all of us, there's also what the emotions. There are joy, pain, pleasure, heart, you say. Again, the emotions also, emotions which arise as a result of experience of certain objects. Therefore, he says, according to Vaibhashikaha, not only the existence of external world is provable through the experiences we have through perception, but also through inference. Therefore, he is called Bahya Artha Anumanavadi. Bahyartha Anumanavadinaha. So, Bahyartha Pratyakshavadinaha, then we have Bahyartha Anumanavadinaha. You see the bright sun outside, you infer it must be hot outside. You infer the heat, even though you are not exposed to the heat, you infer the heat just by perceiving the sun outside, bright sun outside. Where he says, there is external world which is separate from the experiencer and whose existence is proved by the experience we have not only through perception but by also through inference. So Bahya Artha Anumanavadi is, who is that person? Vaibhashikaha, Vaibhashika Bauddhaha. Now the third person, we will go to the text next class, but I'll let me tell you what is the third one says. And then we'll go do the text next class. This Yogachara Bauddhaha is very close to Advaitin, I said already. He says, no, there is an experiencer, which all of them accept. And because there are experiences, no doubt, there is the experiences are corresponding in accordance with the external objects, no doubt, but this experienced external world is non-separate from the experiencer. The experiencer is consciousness. The experiencer is consciousness. The external world, the experienced objective universe, is non-separate from the experiencer consciousness. He sounds very close. Not very close. He says, the external world of objects is non-separate from the experiencer consciousness, not outside of the experiencer consciousness. Therefore, experiencer consciousness is Satyam. Experienced objective universe is Mithya. He says, Yogachara says this much. What is the difference between Yogachara Bauddhaha and Advaiti? Only big difference is, according to Yogachara Bauddhaha, the experiencer is consciousness, fine. But the experiencer consciousness, the experiencer is a constant flow of arriving, departing, fleeting, momentary consciousness. What is the consciousness for him? The experiencer is constant flow of, constant continuous flow of fleeting momentary consciousness. Which means the consciousness comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and quickly comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and goes. There is no understand. And he gives the example how to understand what do we mean by saying, arriving, departing, constantly, continuously, the constant flow of arriving, departing, fleeting, momentary consciousness. Momentary. Every moment consciousness comes and goes, comes and goes. But there is a constant flow. Therefore, we think there is consciousness continuously. Like what? He gives the example. Yatha Gangayam Jalapravahaha. In the river Ganga, the water is flowing. But when you stand on the bank of Ganga, or any river, even the Thames for example, any river, you stand and see, you think there is water. Do you think where you are watching, the same water exists? No. The water keeps flowing. There's a continuous existence of water, but that water is not the same water It's a constant flow, continuous flow of water, which means the old water goes, new water comes, old water goes, new water. It's a momentary, fleeting water. Every fraction of second, there is water keeps moving. But when when you see, as though there is water continuously. There is continuously water, but that water is not the same water. The old water goes, new water comes. Like that, that's a flow of consciousness, constantly arriving and departing, fleeting. Therefore, how long does the consciousness remain in that place? Only for a moment. That's why momentary. Kshanikam. Therefore, he is called Vijnanam, means consciousness. Kshanika Vijnanavadi. Is called Kshanika Vijnanavadi, but for him the external world is non-separate from the experiencer consciousness. Therefore, there is no external world outside of the experiencer other than the experiencer. Therefore, he says what now? Bahyartha abhavavadi. Bahyartha pratyakshavadi. Bahyartha anumanavadi. Now, Bahyartha abhavavadi. There is no such thing called external world. He does not accept the externality of the world. There is no world other than the experiencer, outside of the experiencer. Bahyartham, there is no experienced world separate from the experiencer. Bahyartha abhavavadi. Understand? So Bahyartha abhavavadi, he is also, we can say, very close. Advaita also says there is no Bahyartha, there is no external world outside of experiencer consciousness. But the problem is, he is a Kshanika Vijnanavadi. Understand? Why? Because what are Advaita? Let me not keep it secret. Advaita is a Nitya Vijnanavadi. There is no flow, constant, continuous, fleeting, momentary consciousness is not there. Consciousness does not come and go, does not arrive and depart, does not fleet. Consciousness is eternal, beginningless, endless, changeless, non-arriving, non-departing, non-fleeting, ever remaining. Only reality is what? Consciousness. According to Advaiti, Nitya Vijnanam. Vijnanam, consciousness. Nityam, eternal. For him, momentary fleeting consciousness is experiencer is the momentary fleeting consciousness. For Advaitin, experiencer is eternal consciousness. This is the difference. Nitya Vijnanam. அவருக்கு க்ஷணிக விஞ்ஞானம். க்ஷணிகம்னா okay. Then here you have to make it very clear. This I told you many times, even in my other classes. Which class? When I was doing Manisha Panchakam also, I made very clear one thing. The consciousness manifest is recognizable. Consciousness pure is non-recognizable. Non-recognizable is mistaken for non-existent. Can be mistaken for non-existent. The recognizable consciousness is what? What is recognizable? The manifest consciousness is recognizable. Therefore, manifesting medium is mistaken for the manifest consciousness. Thoughts come, thoughts go. Thoughts come, thought. Every time thought comes, there is manifestation of consciousness. Thought goes, still consciousness. Non-recognizable. Thought comes, consciousness, manifest. Thought goes, pure. Thought comes, manifest. Thoughts go, pure. Thoughts come, manifest. Thoughts go, pure. So the thoughts, see, so many thoughts. There's a constant, continuous thought flow. And thoughts are very subtle. How many cognitions you have, you can count, really speaking, you can't count really speaking. So many thoughts. There's a constant, continuous flow of thoughts. And each thought is what? Manifesting medium. Therefore, there seems to be a constant flow of manifest consciousness. Is it clear? Therefore, for him, he mistakes the manifesting media, the continuously flowing thoughts. The flow of thoughts is mistaken for the flow of consciousness. Have to distinguish the consciousness from the thoughts. Physically, you cannot do that. If this mic is here, light in whose presence, the mic in whose presence, because of whose presence alone this mic shines, is the light, but gets qualified as reflected light. The mic is taken away, still light continues to exist. Light is what? Pure light. There is no such thing called pure light or reflected light. Just the light. In the presence of opaque thing, light gets the qualification as reflected light. In the absence of opaque, light is known as pure light. It's just the light. There is no pure, impure, reflected light. Similarly, in the presence of thoughts, manifest consciousness. Thoughts resolve pure consciousness. Understand? But pure light, you never draw your attention. So he has also really thought very well. He came up to this point. There is experiencer. Experiencer is nothing but consciousness. There is no experienced world outside of consciousness. The world is. He says that. But he mistakes this, the arriving, departing, constant, fleeting of thoughts for constantly fleeting, momentary consciousness. Mistakes the thoughts for consciousness. And how Shankar Bhagatpada is going to show that, now the Gaudapacharya shows in his Karikas, we'll see that. Only one quarter line he says to negate Gaudapadacharya. Only one quarter line. 1/4 of the one Karika. Okay? Therefore, that now we'll see next class. This is the difference. Then Yes, it's only preparation for understanding the karikas in the verse. Next week we'll see the verb. I'm going to repeat what is said today, but with the verses. Now I said without the verses. With the verses, the karikas, we'll see the same thing what is said today, next class. And the last one I told you already. So he negates so Gaudapacharya negates the Yogachara Bauddha. And he also, we are going to see how he joined Yogachara Bauddha in refuting Vaibhashika and Sautrantika. The last one, he does not refute. Why? Shunyavadi. And for him, no external world, no experiencer, therefore Sarvartha Abhavavadi. So Bahyartha Pratyakshavadinaha, Bahyartha Anumanavadinaha, Bahyartha Abhavavadinaha, now Sarvartha Abhavavadinaha. There's nothing is here. How do you say now? Sarvartha Abhavavadi. This Madhyamika Bauddha is called Sarvartha Abhavavadi, and he is also called Shunyavadi. Whereas Yogachara Bauddha is not Sarvartha Abhavavadi, he is Bahyartha Abhavavadi. Fine, he is about Kshanika Vijnanavadi. Madhyamika is called Sarvartha Abhavavadi. Onnume illa is Shunyavadi. Extra, we have two more names for this. So Mahayana Bauddhas, known as Bahyartha Abhavavadinaha, Sarvartha Abhavavadinaha, I don't know what now. Why? Kshanika Vijnanavadi, Shunyavadi. Shunyam, zero, nothing is here. What about you? Who is that who says nothing is here? When you come into the room, first somebody who should comes here. No, Lakshmi Amma is upstairs. Oh my God, I have come into here. Nobody is here. For to say nobody is here, nothing is here, you must be there. How can you deny your own existence? You have to say, I alone am here. If you say, you are very sensible. When nobody is here, nothing is here means you, in that sentence, you are denying your own presence. When you are absent, when you are non-existent, and how can you say hold on to something saying it's my philosophy? Therefore, your philosophy also is as good as you. Therefore, it does not require any refutation. Why should we refute? He leaves it there. Understand? Okay, we'll see the next class. We'll see the Karikas next class. We have that. Once you finish the refutation of Yogachara Bauddha, refutation of Yogachara Bauddha is the in fact end of negation of the Nastika Darshanani. Thereafter begins the essence of again is going to present the Vedantic teaching. You know why? Thinking of what Sankhya philosopher says, what Nayayika says, what Yogachara Bauddha says, what Madhyamika says, what Sautrantika says, seeing what others say, finally we may forget what we have been studying. Therefore, he does not want us to forget our actual vision, teaching. He is going to present the Vedanta teaching again. Okay? The following verses. Consider it. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tatsat. Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om.